Okay, everyone, I am so excited today because I am joined by Morena Baccarin, who stars in Fast Charlie, which is in theaters and on demand today. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm so excited to talk to you. I absolutely love this film. So it's another hit you're in, which is exciting. I think people are excited to see you in this movie with Pierce Brosnan. But what I found so fascinating is you have a great Southern accent in this film, and you're playing this character who is a Mississippi woman. Now, you being a fellow New Yorker, what was like the first thing you noticed that was like extremely different you had to tap into than like your normal ways about things?
Yeah, first of all, I had an amazing dialect coach, Timonic, and he was instrumental in getting me up to speed quickly. And I've discovered like hundreds of accents in the South, um, and in the New Orleans area, the Louisiana area, a lot of different ones as well. And so I listened to a lot of different tapes of people, and then I sort of picked one that was the closest to my natural leniency, just because I wanted it to not feel so laborious. And there were some similarities between Brooklyn and the Louisiana accent, I have to say. A lot of rounded out R's and like sounds that like are also used in the East. So it was really cool to point out the differences.
Does it make it easier doing an accent and just staying in character, or is it still at the end of the day more challenging to keep having to stay in a different accent than your own?
Yeah, I find that really hard. I prefer, you get into it, you practice, and but also being down there, being in New Orleans, being on location was really helpful. It became a bit of a character in the film itself, and like really helped with the mood and the feel of it. And you're listening to that all day long, so you kind of tend to absorb it as well. But I don't really work hard. Like in between takes, I don't like to stay in the accent. I like to relax a little bit. For me, it just feels like more work.
Okay, so you're not method, is what you're saying.
I mean, in some ways, but not really. Not,
Uh,
I take like a little sprinkling of everything.
I like that. I like that. So, what I also love about this character of Marcy you play is that she is a taxidermist. So, what I was wondering watching this film, are these real mounts around you? And did you practice any real taxidermy?
Yeah, it was really interesting, right? It's something that I hadn't spent a lot of time thinking about. I did some research. I looked at some websites, met some women that were taxidermists, and then watched a woman work on a small bird on Zoom, and it was fascinating. Her shop was very bare. She was moving into a new shop, but it was all very, very sort of clean. I don't know why I expect a lot of gore and like body parts and things, but typically that stuff has been drained out and cleaned out before you even get to the stage of putting them back together. So um, that was a revelation. And then also just the tools used and the fine artistry involved in making something look alive again. The feathers tend to get damaged or dulled. The colors fade, and then the eyes have to be painted in to look more alive. And so there was like all these like nuanced things to it that I hadn't thought about, and it was really cool to watch somebody work on that.
No, and it was super convincing. Like you had been someone who's done it so many times, and I think it's cool to add to your characters. I think people are gonna like seeing that in the film. You always play characters too that look great with tattoos. So I was
Yeah.
wondering if you weren't an actress, would you be all tatted up? Is that something you've ever like imagined?
I mean, I think if I wanted tattoos, I could get them anyway. I'm just not a tattoo person. It's not something that appeals to me. I would stress too much about trying to find something that I would be happy with permanently.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so it's not like a reason of like, oh, it would hurt my acting getting certain roles if I had a bunch of tattoos. You don't think that's like really as much a thing anymore?
I don't think so. I think a lot of actors have tattoos. They just cover them up. But yeah, it's not. It's just something that I have anxiety about.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And it's cool because you have a scene partner here with Pierce Brosnan in this film. So, being that that's someone you probably watched growing up, does that still make you go, wow, being around him on set? Do you still get that feeling?
He's phenomenal and such a movie star. He's somebody that has a large body of work and is so talented and has played such iconic roles. that yes, I was a little starstruck when I met him and nervous, and you know, he was so welcoming though, and so kind, and it really struck me, you know, how even somebody as experienced as he is, you know, he was still nervous about certain things, and
Hmm.
working really hard on the script and the lines and the accent, and it was really lovely to experience that with him, and he was so giving as a scene partner, and I felt, you know, on equal ground with him artistically, and it was a refreshing experience.
Yeah, and that was my favorite thing to watch in the film is this being a two-hander and the chemistry you guys had together. And when you're really on screen a lot, towards the middle of the film, I really, really enjoyed it. Now I love that you also this year played a character in Assassin's Creed Nexus VR and that you've previously done Destiny 2. So it makes me wonder though, in your life, have you ever been a gamer or are you a gamer currently?
Nope. I've never
No.
played Assassin's Creed. I've never been into video games. My kids are just starting to get into it. I it's not when I was like 12, maybe, you know, it was like 12 or 13 was like when the Tomb Raider series first came out, like the very first basic bare bones one. And I remember being really into that, but mostly because I like the problem solving aspect to it, but I'm not definitely not into like shooter first person shooter games, but you know, in general, you could tell me about a video game or make one up and I wouldn't know the difference.
Oh, it's interesting. It's cool though that you're doing them because I feel like more and more too. It's like you see bigger names like you doing video games and people love to see it. So especially me as a gamer. So I love you do it. Also I want to bring up too on Instagram you had shared 3 weeks ago that you finished a half marathon. Congrats. But where my brain goes
Thank
with
you.
that is you're welcome. But do people recognize you when you're doing like a half marathon that you got to be like, hold on a second, I'm running a half marathon? Has that ever happened to you?
I picked a course a little bit further away, out of the city. I live in New York, and I picked something in Tarrytown, uptown, which was a good and a bad thing. I mean, everybody was very focused on their own, you know, time and running, but it was also very hilly and really difficult. So I was like kicking myself for not having done that research ahead of time for my first marathon. It was like a really difficult course, but no, nobody bugged me. It was wonderful.
Oh, that's awesome. So when do you think the full marathon's coming?
Never.
Oh, come on. It's gonna come. I see it. You're on your way. So also too, everyone's pumped to see Vanessa back in Deadpool 3 and it's official news she's gonna be in it. So how do you feel about like you see all these like set leaks are happening and everyone's talking about that? Is that like just for you as an actress? Do you feel like when you're a part of a movie like this that you sometimes have to be like in hiding in a sense, or like when you are a part of the film that there's this weird thing where you can't even like be seen?
No, I mean, I think, you know, that movie comes with such a huge fan following, but they're so secretive about everything. And I think most people don't even know what's going on with it, which is kind of
Mm.
great. I know I've been allowed to talk about being in it, so that's fine. I can share with people when they ask me if I'm in it. I can say yes. I can confirm I'm in it. But yeah, it's hard to like speak about it because I can't be specific. But I'm so excited that people still love it, care for it, and that it's something that people are looking forward to.
Yeah, and I really think it's going to be the movie of the summer. So, just as a generalization, do you think this is the film that will get everyone like instantly excited and invested again in the MCU? Like, will this be the thing that pushes it back up?
I hope so. It's a great script. It's a great movie. So I'm excited for people to see it. I think, you know, there's the what's the Ryan used this term, sequelitis, third sequelitis, which is really, you know, it's a thing. It's really hard to like keep people interested. You're measuring up to two other great films, but I think they've done a fantastic job at measuring up.
Awesome. I can't wait for it. And I can't wait to see Vanessa again. So, I think everyone's really excited about that news. But everyone watch Morena just kill it in Fast Charlie, which is in theaters and on demand today. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll talk to you in the future one day.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.